Now, you keep hearing that the Charlotte real estate market is very, very hot and on fire. And yes, that is very true, but there are some problems that are coming from that. Hello family, Sir here. I am your Charlotte real estate advisor and local guide. And look, I've done several videos telling you what's going on with the real estate market and where to buy, what's happening, what kind of home to build, where to build. In fact, I was doing research on our monthly housing market update, which I provide every single month, and I constantly kept running into this same issue. It doesn't matter whether you're in Charlotte, Gastonia, Huntersville, Concord, or Fort Mill, it's across the greater Charlotte area. I see that there are some massive problems that are happening from this, and it could affect you, the buyer, and it's going to affect the homeowner, and if you're a seller, it's going to impact you as well. So we need to talk about these issues and what's happening in Charlotte. And when I say Charlotte, I'm referring to the greater Charlotte area, so you can navigate them and hopefully put yourself and your family in the best position possible. Here are the issues. Number one, there's a lack of inventory here in Charlotte. Yes, we've talked about it before, but it is a perfect storm right now. Builders stopped building earlier in the year due to the virus, and now the builders don't have any inventory. Now that things are picking back up, when they go to build, we saw that there was a severe lumber shortage and lumber prices skyrocketed. Yes, in the past month, they've come down a little bit, but those prices are still much higher than they were in the beginning of 2020. So that's going to impact the builder's bottom line and ultimately impact the buyer as well, because they're going to have to pay more. And because of the lack of inventory, builders are in a prime position and they aren't offering the same incentives that they did to buyers to begin with. You know, sometimes they offer some down payment assistance some closing costs, or they might throw in some blinds or some appliances. Not all home builders are providing those incentives for home buyers now. Now, for people that may not have had a lot of money to put down and may be using an FHA loan, you know, there's a lot of people that relied on those incentives to help purchase new construction. But builders are not providing those incentives anymore. So that's going on, and it's going to impact you first-time home buyers or buyers of new construction. Now let's talk about the resale market and buying a home that's already been built. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're using an FHA loan, or you need some kind of down payment assistance or a down payment assistance program, just about every home that is put on the market is getting anywhere from 5 to 10 offers. That's on the low side. And I had a client get outbid 3 times in the span of 3 weeks, where each property they were interested in got no less than 5 offers. And in fact, when we finally got a property under contract, my client had to up their offer almost $10,000 over the list price. Now, when you do that, that comes with its own set of challenges and problems that could arise. When you place a property under contract for significantly more than the asking price, you have to worry about getting an acceptable appraisal to come back from the lender. And if the appraisal comes back and it does not meet the contract price, the buyer, or my clients in this case, would have come out of pocket to pay the difference. Quick example, if you offer $250,000 on a property, but the appraisal only came back at $245,000, that means the buyer, if they wanted the property and to move forward, the buyer would have to come out of pocket that additional $5,000, that $5,000 difference. So once you couple that with any closing costs they would have to pay, sometimes it makes it a little unmanageable to be able to buy a property. Now on the flip side, you might think that is excellent for the seller. They get more money for the property. But more times than not, sellers are actually buyers. They're selling their property, but they're going to buy, whether downsize or to buy a larger home. And they're going to be in a very similar position because every property they go to look at is going to have anywhere from 5 to 10 offers on it. And it's going to be very hard for them to get their offer accepted because they have a contingency of selling their home. You see how it kind of snowballs? And what I've been seeing is that a lot of potential sellers or homeowners that want to sell or maybe need to sell, they aren't putting their house on the market and they aren't selling it, and that's causing the inventory to shrink even more. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's fine and dandy. That's going on with the housing market as far as buying and selling goes. I'll just rent for a year or two. Well, what I haven't told you is that rental prices and rental rates are increasing even faster than home prices. And they're increasing for several reasons, and we'll get into that. Now look, I understand I'm giving you a lot of information, but I will give you some good tips on how to navigate in this trying time. So stay tuned for that, but I have to get through these points so we're all on the same page moving forward. If you're a buyer in this market, chances are you're competing against multiple offers. So maybe you are looking at a home that's been on the market for quite some time. Now, if a home has been on the market for anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks in this hot of a market, more than likely that property has its own challenges. It may need some work, or it was just overpriced to begin with. So you have to deal with that. And if that property has issues down the line, you're going to have to fix those issues. That's going to be more money out of your pocket for expenses that you really didn't foresee paying. And now you're taking on more debt to fix a problem that you inherited in a property. Now, historically, home ownership has been a driver for wealth building from generation to generation. People buy a home, they gain the equity from that sale or from that purchase, and then once they sell it, they step up and buy another home. They do that again and step up and keep gaining that equity. But if you buy a home that's already overpriced, that has work that needs to be done, that you're gonna have to attend to, that's going to eat into your equity. So you see the problem that's occurring with this situation. So this housing market is displacing a massive amount of people because those people aren't able to take advantage of these low interest rates and capitalize on obtaining home ownership and build wealth through home ownership. Now look, Charlotte is one of the top places to live in the country. I've lived in several locations around this country and I love it here. And there has been several reports and studies that rank Charlotte in the top 10 of places to live in 2020 and 2021. And tons of people have been moving here that can afford the cost of living. People are leaving the bigger cities and coming here. Charlotte just replaced New York City as the retail banking capital of the country. People are leaving those big cities because 1, they might be on lockdown, 2, the property prices might be crazy expensive, and they just don't want to be there anymore. I get that. So you come on down here for this cheaper cost of living and take advantage of all that Charlotte has to offer. So that's part of why Charlotte is such a hot housing market right now. But presently, Charlotte home sellers don't know where to go. Typically, they would build new, but there isn't any new construction inventory right now. And if they build new, there is, check this out, there is a lot premium. I recently had a client have to pay, or was going to have to pay, they decided not to go forward with it, have to pay $50,000 just for a lot to build on. Now, I understand that for some people coming from out of state, that doesn't seem like a crazy ask. But for people here in Charlotte, where the lot premium is typically anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000, having that huge jump and people asking and builders asking that huge amount of money, that is out of a lot of people's budget. So a lot of home sellers or would-be home sellers are choosing to remain in their current home and just building on. They might be adding to a patio or finishing their basement. They're just increasing the value of the home, trying to expand the living space, whether it's indoor or outdoor, as opposed to selling and buying new. Now let's talk about forbearance. A lot of homeowners here in the Charlotte area who went into forbearance and they're choosing not to extend, they will potentially have to list their homes for sale. But what they have waiting on the other side of selling their property is crazy, insane rent prices. So if they could not afford their mortgage payment and put that in forbearance, what makes the average person think that they can then afford a rent payment which is going to be higher than their mortgage payment? It's sort of a lose-lose for some Charlotte residents right now. I'm not here to be a downer or a Debbie Downer, but I'm here to share with you the uncomfortable realities of what's going on in the Charlotte market. And I told you in my previous videos that I will always give it to you straight and keep it 100% real with you. So you might be thinking, well, sir, with those people that will have to sell because their forbearance is running up, that would be good for the market and investors and people looking to buy, because those houses will hit the market. Yes, in theory, that is the case. But you see, the inventory here in Charlotte as of September 2020 decreased by 50%. 50% less houses are on the market now than it was this time last year. So while, yes, any kind of inventory is welcome and it will help a certain number of buyers, it will not loosen this inventory logjam to an extent that we need it to have a normal functioning housing market. There are tons of people moving to the Charlotte area daily. Almost 120 people move to the Charlotte area every single day. And the lack of inventory is a huge problem. And while I don't know how to change that, I do know how you can position yourself to better yourself and your family so you can try to avoid some of the challenges of our housing market. And let's get into that right now. Quickly, before we do that, I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to tell you not to move here. I'm just here as a real estate advisor, someone on YouTube, trying to provide you information so you can be in the best position possible for when you move here to the Charlotte area. So the tips on how to position yourself in the best light possible. First and foremost, you need to make sure you get your financing in place. Get a pre-approval. Do not use a out-of-state lender. Use a lender in the Charlotte area. I can't stress this enough to you. People, please use a local lender. You don't have to use one of the lenders I recommend, but use a local lender. They're going to be able to help you in this process. And more than likely, you're going to be in a multiple offer situation. And if you're using an out-of-state lender, those listing agents are going to throw your offer to the side. They'll show it because it's their duty to show your offer to their client, but they're going to say, hey, this is an out-of-state lender and I don't want to deal with these people, and there's going to be issues. People in the real estate industry may not want to admit it, but that happens every single day. And the same thing goes for these big, large banks. Don't use one of these big, large retail banks, because agents are not going to want to work with them. They will present your offer, but they've been jaded or slighted by these big banks and the time it takes for them to process a loan, that they're going to more than likely advise their client to move toward a different offer where they don't have to deal with those potential problems. So please take my advice, get your pre-approval, get your financing in place, use a local lender, and do not use one of the big banks. Now, the tip for you home sellers that have to sell a home in order to buy a new home, make sure your home is under contract and sold basically before you start shopping. Here's the scenario. Once you make an offer on a home, more than likely you're gonna be in a multiple offer situation. And if you put a contingency that you have to sell your property in order to buy this property, those potential sellers aren't going to look favorably on your offer. It may look good in price, but your offer with the contingency is going to be thrown to the wayside, just like the FHA buyer and the buyers that have down payment assistance or have to go through some other down payment assistance programs. It just doesn't put you in the best position possible. So for you home sellers that need to sell in order to buy, make sure you have your property already listed and that it's already under contract and past the due diligence period, so you don't have to put any contingencies on your offer. Many other realtors or real estate professionals won't tell you those things, and they might not admit that those things happen, but trust me, it happens every single day in this real estate game. It's just the reality of the market we're in. Now look, if you're a first-time home buyer, I'm not trying to paint a picture of doom and gloom, but I'm trying to set expectations and set a reality for you, right? There are going to be homes available, and you can find a home that is perfect for you, but it may be a challenge, and I don't want you to get discouraged because it's all going to work out. You just have to be patient with the process. Work with your agent and have someone that you can have a constant dialogue with so you can understand the process and what you're getting yourself into. All right, Sir Ashley here. Thank you for your time, for watching this video. Please go ahead and comment on this video, hit the like button and share it. Also, if you like Charlotte or interested in learning about Charlotte and want just tips and tricks regarding the Charlotte real estate market, or just want to know what's going on in Charlotte, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can be kept up to date when I drop new videos for you. Talk soon.